Welcome back for another video. It's time for the Gameweek 21 episode of the Experts. This series consists of hundreds of participants, including a bunch of top all-time managers and content creators. Every week we reveal the Experts team ahead of the deadline, plus we look at their transfer plans, captaincy, chip strategy and more. Their collective rank finishes on screen now. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel to follow this and other FPL content as we head into the trickier second half of the season. So let's jump in. We have a new name on top of the Experts League, Akshay, who's currently 6k overall after scoring 74 in Gameweek 20. His total points for the season at 1,278. Clearly it sometimes takes a brave decision to move upwards, and his was captaining Rashford in the double Gameweek over Haaland, a net gain of 8 points. We'll talk more on Gameweek 21 captaincy later in the episode. Last Gameweek was the craziest we've seen all season, with -8s and even -12s flying. It's the polar opposite this Gameweek, with 81% rolling their transfer, perhaps the highest we've seen all season. 15% of the experts are making one transfer, 4% are making 2 transfers. Just 3 of the experts are taking a -4 in total. So there's a clear trend here of so many rolled transfers, so let's talk about why they're doing that and the merits. Firstly, the League Cup's played between Gameweek 21 and Gameweek 22, and then again between Gameweek 22 and 23. The results of those games will dictate how Gameweek 25 looks and which teams are likely to have a blank game week. It's Southampton versus Newcastle and Man United versus Nottingham Forest in the League Cup. You will have seen this graphic a few times on the channel this week. It lists the Gameweek 25 fixtures and what needs to happen for those fixtures to be postponed. Man United and Newcastle are favourites to progress in those League Cup fixtures, which also means that their potential Gameweek 25 opponents would also have their fixture postponed. In other words, Man United, Brentford, Newcastle and Brighton are favourites to blank in Gameweek 25. By rolling a transfer you can assess the first leg results, and you don't have to spend 2 transfers in Gameweek 22 either. You could spend 1 and then wait for the results of the second leg once the postponements are known. However, there's also speculation of a double Gameweek 22 for Man United and either Leeds or Brentford in Gameweek 22. This hasn't been announced yet at the time of recording, but it's speculated because Man United could run out of available midweeks to reschedule their postponements if they progress in all competitions, so the pressure's on the Premier League to make Gameweek 22 a double game week for those teams. It may or may not happen, but logic often prevails in fixture scheduling. So in other words, having 2 transfers to hand will be powerful if that drops in as well. It gives you the flexibility to hop onto a player like Bruno, if you're a De Bruyne or Salah owner, before potentially reversing the transfer to De Bruyne or even Mahrez for City's double Gameweek 23. It's a little bit complicated, so rewind if you need, and hopefully the graphics help to explain it better. As far as which players are being bought and sold among those making moves, here's the list. Odegaard's the most transferred in player, with 35% among those spending transfers. A sensible move, not just due to Arsenal's double Gameweek 23 on the horizon, but he's the top scoring midfielder currently, and currently among those 3 Arsenal mids, Saka, Martinelli and Odegaard, he is the one with the highest expected goal involvement over the season. 8.89 XGI for him, 8.36 for Saka and 8.0 for Martinelli. Saka is the second top transfer for that reason. Mitoma's been brought in by 9%, only 5 mil and even more nailed since the departure of Trossard to Arsenal. Since the restart, only Rashford's taken more than his 10 shots in the box, exactly where you want your players taking shots. Just be mindful with your transfers. Rewind and refer to the blank Gameweek 25 graphic if you need. Newcastle and Brighton were among the favourites to blank if Newcastle knocks Southampton out the League Cup. You don't want to waste your free hit in Gameweek 25, so when making transfers be calculated about it. Work out your potential blankers in your team. Many of you are tripled up on Man United, and we pretty much all own Trippier, so that's 4 already. Rodrigo scored the most goals among midfielders in FPL this season with 10. In reality he plays out of position up top mostly. His next 5 are Brentford, Forest, Man United, Everton and Southampton. Good fixtures, and if he gets that double Gameweek 22 he's potentially an outstanding pick. Bamford is back from injury now, plus Leeds also signed forward Rutter in the January window, which could eat away his minutes a bit. Gnonto is also classed as a forward in FPL and he's been brought in by 4% this week, only 5 mil and actually playing down the wing for Leeds, so he's not a competition for Rodrigo. He's had a couple of attacking returns in the league and 2 goals against Cardiff in the FA Cup earlier in the week. One to monitor as a great budget forward. Ferguson from Brighton, of course, the other standout budget forward for 4.5 mil. Almiron's the most sold player with 17% of the experts selling. His purple patch of form has ended and there's lots of better looking options out there now. Martial's been sold by 8% of those making a transfer. He wasn't in the squad at all that faced Crystal Palace. His fitness has been an issue all season and reportedly he did have a groin injury recently. A quick look at the chip usage and then we'll look at the captaincy and the experts team. 3% have used up their second wildcard, 2.3% have used their free hit, 2.7% have bench boosted. The later blanks and double game weeks will be the ideal time to utilise those chips. A massive 44.6% have used their triple captain up. Nearly all of those come in last game week on Haaland. 5 goals from Man City in the double, a bit unfortunate to only walk away with 1 return though, but at least he didn't blank. Whether that plays out as the right call or not remains to be seen. We'll certainly see more use in double game week 23 and later in the season. No chips active among the experts in game week 21. Onto the game week 21 captaincy among the experts, and 94% are back in Haaland for the home game against Wolves. There's a few other names here, albeit with low captaincy. De Bruyne has 3%. An interesting choice, Pep didn't use him at all in the win over Tottenham. It wasn't a convincing win, going 2-0 down at half time, but perhaps Pep will shake things up a bit more and bring him into the team for that fixture. Last season De Bruyne put 4 past Wolves in one game, though it wasn't a different system I should add. Kane, Trippier and Tony have 1% each. It's the first time we've seen Trippier and Tony on captaincy. Consistency is what you want in a captain, and it doesn't get any more consistent than Trippier, who has just 1 blank in his last 14 games. He's put up 3 double-digit returns in total, which all came fairly recently between Game Week 14 and Game Week 17, though certainly the likes of Haaland and De Bruyne are the more explosive players on a good day. Onto the experts team reveal, and before we reveal the team, if this has been useful, please drop it a like and make sure you're subscribing so you don't miss out on future FPL videos. The experts team is built from their highest end players, and the team is as follows. It's Ward in goal, a back 3 of Shaw, Trippier and White. The midfielders De Bruyne, Martinelli, Ødegaard and Rashford, with the front 3 of Mitchell, Haaland captain and De Bruyne vice captain. It's a shaky defence, not just for the experts this week but many of us. Neither Ward nor Kepa's fixtures look good, and little separates the two on clean sheet odds. Arsenal and Man United face one another, and many of us invested in both defences. The team is already tripled up on Arsenal and doubled up on Man United, so it looks well set up for double game week 23, and if we get the double game week 22, that could shake things up a bit before. It's a super cheap bench to fund the threemium, with Kepa, Andreas, Bueno and Patterson benched. Patterson's not expected back for another few weeks, but we've got more priority transfers, so he's still in the team. Bueno's proven to be a bargain, still only 3.9 mil, and he has 2 clean sheets in his last 3. The less said about Mitrovic the better, after striking the penalty against his own foot for a foul and recorded as a missed penalty. Each game week we ask the experts to offer their insight and tips for the game week ahead. Fantasy football scout Joe says, lots of midfielders appeal, especially from attacking teams including Brighton and Arsenal, but patience could be a virtue this week. By saving a transfer, FPL managers will be armed with 2 free transfers and lots more information around forthcoming double and blank fixtures going into game week 22. FPL Augur says, I'm rolling the transfer this week after taking a spicy -12 in game week 20. Hopefully can put 2 free transfers to good use for any double game week 22 fixtures. Morton Gamps Edison says, I'm expecting a low scoring week as a lot of my team are playing each other, but I plan on rolling the transfer rather than to get someone I don't really want. On the 3rd of Feb deadline we'll know much more about double game weeks. Vites makes a point on the doubles and blanks and planning for them. He says, at this stage planning your transfers for the long term becomes more and more critical. Double game week and blank game weeks are getting easier to predict and should be part of your transfer considerations. Jesus Juggernauts is one of the 3 on Captain De Bruyne, and he says, I have slight doubts that Alvarez might come in for a game soon, so I'm taking a chance on De Bruyne. Ben Coleman says, if your team isn't looking great this week and you currently have Andreas Pereira on the bench, it might be worth playing him. Pereira's averaging 4 points a game at home this season, and Fulham host Spurs, who have been very shaky defensively. FPL Fish says, unless you had Mahrez, double game week 21 was a disappointment, and there's a lot of frustrated managers out there. Don't let it affect your decisions now, stick to your plan and the points will come. And lastly, Dadinho says, Reece James got injured watching this video. And that concludes episode 21 of The Experts. Please consider subscribing if it was useful so you don't miss out on future FPL videos. There's more Game Week 21 content on screen. See you soon for the next one.